Hey, what up? It's September the 5th, and I'm making another journal entry. This one is just going to kind of go over so far my successes, some insights and things that I've gathered within this day, which has been pretty radical and transforming and just in all of its entirety. I'm super blessed, feel very grateful. Hadn't even done any grateful practices today. But man, if you can just exhume that energy inside you, you can hone it and then release it in the manifest. Great. Uh, Slight disclaimer or side note: I'm under the influence today, so bear with me like always in my previous joints. This is exactly what I'm trying to do: is just make my journal entry in the moment and all the different thoughts and processes I'm having around it. So I need to have something to track it. I just jumped on it because I felt like if I don't do it, I'm not going to do it. And I'm trying to be more of a person of action than indecision, right? So that out without further to do, let me make up my list real quick on some things I want to try to remember. Past girl, maybe. Okay, maybe I'll talk about her. And theanine effect, or theanine as people like to call it. And I guess I can mention it. And what was it? The spellbinding effect that I got intrigued with. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, yeah, even more. I got all kinds of stuff I can sauce up on this. Indies. Whew. Jeez, man. I'm flowing now. Now I've got some going. I like this. Sorry you have to sit back and see me type. If you want to, fast forward in the film. I don't know where I'm at in this movie, so. Because I guarantee I'm going to talk a lot. Hopefully not too much. I wrote this in an entry earlier, but I'm going to mention it in this video because I think it's important. And I need to reflect. I have to have constant reflections so that some of this stuff starts to make a concrete step going forward, because I'm actually trying to just optimize my mainframe. I mean, if there's anything I'm trying to do, that's really what I'm trying to achieve, is just get a better optimization on everything, that I can kind of get away with the things that are aspects of me. I'm a Pisces energy. I have to sample with different things. That is just what breathes life into me, gives me passion. But I do that in a healthy way, or like to think my own healthy way, which is my body stays optimized, my brain clarity stays fairly intact, and I'm also able to take care of my child. And so if these three metrics, or what am I trying to use here? These three variables stay intact. That's what I kind of base my experience and reality and everything else going forward. So yeah, let me finish up this list. I'm loving this. Oh, I'm loving this. All right. Now, let's get into this. I don't know where I'm at. I don't really edit my videos anymore. I used to edit all my other past things. But when YouTube starts chucking your work, I mean, that's a lot of time invested. And it becomes daunting and it's discouraging, which is what they want to do to us anyways if you're actually trying to get out some really good, effective, content-driven messages. And so I don't want to say that I'm beating them at their own game. I mean, they can always just take down another channel, but at least with my content being deleted, it won't be as damaging to the efforts and motivation going forward. Oh, I can't wait. So I don't even know why I put this one at the very top because I'm motivated right now by a different reason. But I'm going to go ahead and touch into that. So there's a past girl that I was talking with. And when you're trying to give credibility to life, let's say we're all going through growth periods. And sometimes we meet people along these growth periods and we're both immature. You might be both immature in your views and everything about the world. You can have an event and multiple events, which is really, you can lean on that from 2020 even beyond. Everything has kind of accelerated, okay? Everything is just whoosh. And because of that pickup and drive, the consciousness, and I don't know if I said this in other videos or if I in the past, but I'm going to mention it right now. This planet is waking up. It is waking up to its nature, which is normal. I think it's a cycle. It does this all the time. It goes through a period of rest. And I'm going to say this too. In the period of rest, if anyone hasn't gathered this already, look at all the different esoteric material. They will always talk about, or even not even esoteric, you can just get into psychology or astrology and any of these different things. I won't say psychology, but astrology for sure. But people talk about this dark side. Everyone says, what's the dark side? And the dark side's always, something negative that you don't want other people to know about. It's always kept in these shadows. They say, Saturn is Satan energy. Well, when Saturn is, in its highest form of influence on you, whoever your sign chart or birth chart is, then you're said to also have experienced some of these effects, or where you can be shown or you can exhibit some of your like darker, the stuff that you try to keep private, or what's the private side that's not so pretty to the rest of the world or doesn't really showcase that good. Anyways, my point in being and saying all this is that our body compositions and this whole grand landscape of everything that we're living in is abiding by that same principle. Okay? Now, the spirit which is occupying me, you, and everything else, which I really believe is entirely separate but connected. It's the separate and connected type thing, just like all of us together and what's holding us together. I think, as Sadhguru puts it, is space. This fabric of everything, because there's really none of these things are connected. Okay, we're not touching, yet we are bound to one another because of that space, intervening space in between, ether, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to go too crazy with that. Anyways, I love it. I'm in such a power state of thought and how I look at things. And so this kind of cascades over my whole experience in life, and tremendously more today once I finally get into a little bit more of the guts of the video. So it's interesting. I can still kind of clearly portray what I'm saying, even if it looks scattered. I can package that back up and bring it back. I pride myself on the digressions now. I'm trying to actually embrace some of the digressions in hopefully a conductive way or an efficient manner. I don't know what I'm saying right there. Okay. Anyways, getting back to the point of what I'm making. We all go through these different transitions to everything in the world. We've been in this state of darkness for this whole time that now we're shifting in gears into the light. And it is female energy in with this, okay? Female energy is encompassing energy. It's like the light coming into the room is just brighter, brighter, brighter until it just takes over. So we're coming into the light of knowledge, of spirit, of everything. It's like when everybody's talking about everything is kind of just moving and accelerating quickly. Well, now our ways of interpreting data accelerates, because now we're talking to somebody else that's probably entertaining something a little different now. Is waking up their consciousness. So once you go through these levels of consciousness, information, really what it is, you can really, the more information you can digest, I hate to say it this way, but the more information you can digest on a certain intellectual interest level, the deeper you're going to be able to make all of these intricacies and all these intricate connections. You're going to sound like one of these fucking pop gurus. I mean, that's all it really comes down to. And You have to maximize that level of interested knowledge. It's interested knowledge and information. So let's say you could spend an intimate amount of time in just nature. You say, well, gosh, that's not very diverse. But I beg to differ. And this is some of the arguments that I have with one of my close friends of mine. Me and him argue the opposite ends of this, and we both see a validity in both of our situations. So I hope you'll go on this journey with me and just, I'll get back to the girl. Promise. My brain's working. So follow me for a second. There is a level of, I don't want to call it praise, pride, whatever you want to call it, but there's just a level of support for those that diversify their life. So you'll have somebody championing, I am diverse. I'm not just single-minded. I'm an open box, and because I've explored and touched and experienced so many things, I've got a better idea on this whole planet and scale of things. That's actually my position. I'm talking a little indirectly. Yeah, I'm talking about my side because I am able to see that perspective. But that is exactly what I believe. I'm very deep into getting into different things, learning them, but I don't spend large amounts of time in those things. See, the exploration is extremely revealing in itself. This is where expertise comes in, I think, sometimes. But you can be expertise about a lot of different things that give you a holistic approach to life. So there's two components. It's the depth of life, right? How deep life can go in different areas. And it's the life in general, which is the holistic type situation. So I think if we have those two concepts, none is taking away or robbing from the other per se. It's just a balance of the energies. Again, we're always in these dualistic situations. I think that's just another manifest. So a point being in all this, everything has now had its course. We were in dark periods. This explains all the fucking medieval time periods or whatever bullshit history they gave us. I really don't think our history is as long as what they're saying. I think it gets a lot shorter. But science can tell you whatever and you believe it. I can give you all these examples of we've carbon dated and pulled these things together. And, I don't want to talk shit about science just because like I haven't done it so it can't be possible type thing. But we also have a level of common sense that we have to at least address to this and not just default to biases and authoritative biases just because they're like leading experts doesn't mean there's something in there and all that proof is flawed. And yes, you have peer-reviewed people that go back and double check, fact check, whatever the heck they're going to do, check. But they're human too and they're subject to flaw. So there's all these random possibilities. And I'm not saying, well, what is true? I'm a pretty big skeptic, so I'm not going to tell you anything. I stay on that. That's my out. If you want to know if I got an out, I got an out. I'm a skeptic. I don't know, maybe sure. But it don't affect me. It doesn't bother me. The things I might cold-hearted believe in, if they fall apart later because I got some new information, changes in my mind, okay, I'm going to change up. I don't really care. I'm not trying to pick a side and hold on to it. Now I'm starting to digress a little bit. Getting back to the point, we're accelerating. Everybody should already be aware of this. Anyways, the information is like skyrocketed. If you look at today's version of LB and you look at little kid LB, those two guys are two different people knowledge-wise. We completely experience everything, even in speaking. Let's fast forward. Let's say when I just got out of high school, well, maybe I got a little bit more gumption about me, a little bit more energy, started learning new material, got into electronics, boom, 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 in the military, Navy, great, bam, 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 bam. I got all that knowledge. Visited different cultures. Even that cat can't keep up with this cat. This cat that is here today in front of you that's learned the data, that's seen the computer progressions over time and all this other crazy shit and all these other different categories and whatever college experience I went through for my master's degree that was a 4.0. And I say all that with this to say that motherfucker cannot compete. The past one can't compete with this one. I promise you. So everything is very much accelerated. I'm just as an observation, not just from my studies, but also just as a perceptual awareness of things, situational awareness, whatever you want to call it. But I'm seeing different changes in people, and it isn't always a factor of age. Don't think I'm that shallow. I examine pretty fucking deep. I was a technician, so most of the things I'm going to tell you, you can ask me and say, did you think about that? Think about that? I'm probably did already. But if you've got something you want to, I will entertain something I haven't. And if it is compellingly a marker that will, change my view, I'm on it. But if there are different views out of that I didn't consider, and I might challenge that question, I'm like, well, what about this? What about that? That's all it's about, baby. We're having a discussion. We're just trying to see, well, hey, did this influence what I believe or not? I don't know. Because that could ultimately do something with the entire mainframe. I mean, if somebody just came along and started just slamming down all of the religious community, like there was like, for sure now, everyone's in total agreement, this religion shit is done, right? There would be a lot of heartbroken people. They're like looking for their foundations, their footholds. I made that in a different video. I know that for sure. Anyways, man, I don't know why I'm getting contacted all the daggum time. Okay. It's unbelievable. Can't even get a Sunday on a holiday. These people, and then I lose out on this kind of passion. That's going to start changing in the future. I got a lot of things I'm doing. And one of those is to situate my environment conducive to what the heck I want to do with my life. And this right here is something that's very fun and conducive. I learn, people learn. We're all the same. We're all one and the same. So hopefully we're getting something from each other. And we're just keeping that whole message going. And I got a lot of cool stuff I want to keep applying. So I can't wait till I depart from this, whatever, job, career, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a great career, but at the same time, it allows me to be able to do this. But at the same time, it's those stepping stones. And the thing about a stepping stone is you have to leave from one to get to the completely over to the other. So I can't do this like, I don't know. Nah, it's not going to work. And I'm realistic on this, and I can't play with that. Anyways, digress so much. When you're excited like me and you got a lot of power vibes, I think this is how you release. Remember, I'm still on my no fap, which is pretty cool. 21 some days, maybe 24 now. I don't know. No, I haven't hit the 21. I think the 21 might happen this. Oh, it did. It just happened. Wow, time is moving by. So now I'm on my stretch for 30 days. Once I hit that 30-day mark, wow! I don't know. We'll see. It's like, what are you going to do? You going to have a chick? You going to go find a chick and have sex? I might. Or I might just sexually gratify myself. I don't know. Oh, I'm getting out there. Please, guys, TMI. All right. So, people that you've met in your past and you're both incomplete and you're both having these problems. Maybe this is one reason why you get together. It's like, those magnets fit. Those magnets fit. You got to kind of think about pluses, minuses, kind of, those hooked up. Both are not really at the right levels for it to be even a stronger bond for whatever reason. And both have to go to their corners or their environments to work on themselves. And so when the two of them come back in alignment with each other, they may not be the same. Now, this normally happens over longer time periods because, of course, we're in darker times in the past. Darker times are slow times. They're very slow moving. You have people like Tesla, who is basically a super energized spirit crystal that ends up in a body that can do some really cool stuff and impress the current age. And so his lifetime, like whatever you want to call it, for whatever he was sharing and trying to exhibit and he didn't get the respect or whatever. He's before his time. The point I'm making is like he knew there was a bunch of slowness and imbeciles. And the only reason why he was more ahead in the way he was because, again, he was one of those gurus. He just sit there and digested information. And you think, well, what makes a person really smart? Is it the number of books they read? Possibly. Is it their ability to use the information? That's a skill. I think you can develop that. It can be taught. But it ultimately has to be desired. So you have some people that have higher desires for those kinds of things. So what's really at play here? What's really at play? You got the past robbing things, but everyone wants to say, well, is that the bad or good? It doesn't matter. It all happened. It's in the past. It's dark. going from a dark period into light period. The point being here is everything has sped the hell up except for this fucking video. But that's not the point. I'm here to do a journal entry. I could be spending a lot more time than this on journal situation, to be honest, but I'm doing it at the pace I want. So at the short time of me talking with this past girl, which was about maybe I say 3 or 4 months ago, which now in the way I process information and move around things feels like 5 years ago. My time is so off. I I I do this for shits and giggles. I like to look at time and what it is currently for like that reality because it's on an entire different time scale if people are really living by this. I don't try to live by that. I live according to my vibes, how the energy feels in the day. And when it's in the past, like it's gone a day, all those minutes and hours are gone with it. So no one's tracking those. So if I have somebody that's like hit me up from, a couple weeks ago, I'll think it's like a month ago. I give them like a benefit. Like that was way long ago. Somebody will say, well, it just happened yesterday. I'm like, sure it wasn't last week? And sometimes I even speed up information that I might be unusual, I'm confused about. Maybe it might be longer. I'm like, wasn't that like, I thought we just worked on it like 2 days or a week ago. And they'll be like, no, it was like 2 months ago. But rarely do I fall into those traps. I try to give people more time. Like, oh, was it like 5 weeks ago? Like, no, it was just the other day. Like, I guess you're not doing enough in your brain to take up information. But anyways, it's not a challenge. The point here is that everything is accelerating and through time fast. So there's this other girl that I broke off from, and there's something unusual about it that I'm strongly connected with her. And it's that girl is the one girl that screwed up things with the other girl that I was into. So it's very chaotic energy that I'm kind of wrapped around with them, you know. Um, but I can't say that I want to be with either one. It's a weird position for me to be in. But I know if I'm around them, the pull is like instantaneous. They know it. I know it. We both ends of us. I mean, there's no question. So while I would like to go hang out with this girl and everything, and I think this would be a whole lot better, but she doesn't know the man that she's approaching at this point. I'm on this no fap kick, which is a big thing. I'm now since then implemented no drinking, so that's gone a whole week now, which is pretty cool. I was like, am I gonna have like withdrawals or something? Like, no, and I'm actually kind of getting excited to put myself back because I always go to a bar to shoot pool anyways, and I don't drink normally when I do it. So I'm anxious to start going to bar scenes that maybe have some activity generated around them, or maybe just to sit with people and let them get kind of on that level. Because what they're going to do is project themselves onto me anyways. That's what I've been noticing in life. We make our projections, and that's them is us to ourselves. Sorry, it's crazy digression. This other girl that I meet, but I'm looking at this girl with all the past baggage when I really need to figure out who she is and accept her now. I don't know who that person is now. It's been so long. Who knows what kind of journeys she's made? She's been on trips. She's been with girlfriends. She's probably made new, philosophies and lifestyles for herself in this short amount of time. So I'm very interested. Like in one way to see her. But I'm also I'm hesitant because there's still this other energy around there that I'm like, did she completely remove it? I don't really know. I don't really know. That's why I think it's very important that we don't hold people too strongly to their convictions. And I embrace kind of the thing that my family member said to me, when you're in a marriage, one of the best vows you can have is to not hold your partner in contempt. I think it was the best line I've heard. I'm gonna get off of her. That's all I wanted to say. Anyways, is me and her shared a great little dialogue back and forth, see how each other were doing. I think she was kind of testing the waters to see if I'd come out today, and I'm not. She's like, oh, she had sent a picture of like some cookies she made, and I was like, put some like yummy faces, and she was like, oh, you want some? And I'm like, not bad enough, not right now. I see, I'm a different guy. If I go to see her, it's going to be on a big time different wavelength. I really would like to see her. It's probably when I will go see her. And I'll be a lot more secure in myself. I have still some insecurity parts, but I don't. They're almost kind of bullshit. Because every time I get thrown in this situation now, I'm finding that I totally eradicate it. I don't really even have an obstacle with it. But not worried about it. I'm in a different pursuit. It's not like I'm not still interested. I can still see me being around her, her being around me, and then just being like, oh, where have you been? My God, what are we doing to each other and keeping apart? But our stupid little past experiences. You can see that all happening. Not even a question. She's that girl I dance with in the street. Think that might have fucked up my relationship with the other chick. God. Anyways, it's fun. Even crazy today. Oh my God. I did not. So this just lets you know, guys, you got it. If you don't think you do, please don't sweat your game. Don't sweat it. Even if you don't think you got it, you probably got it. There's this girl that went to the gym and like she's super freaking high, super cute, thin. I mean, everything, right? And she's just bouncing around doing all this shit. And I'm in the gym, I'm talking with some of my bros, and we keep like, I fucking the hell out of her, right? Let's be serious. And so I was like, hey, I think I stopped her at one point. I was like, she was walking around. I was like, hey, I was like, I swear, I was like, I thought you looked familiar. I think I've seen you before here. And it's like, you know what? But here's the difference. I use that line. It's not a disgenuine line. Even when I say it, some chicks will be like, oh, that's what guys say. They think I'm in a pickup line situation. And then I'll be like, because I catch myself, I'm like glitching, like, no, I'm not doing that at all. Like, I seriously thought you were somebody I knew. So you come with genuinity. Everybody responds. Anyways, we got into a long dialogue. She was talking about buying a house, her and her man's, and she's married, by the way. And then she ends up giving me her number, just, in case I need her for some cleaning services. I said, okay, great, great. I see her about a few other times since then. We talk every now and then. Nothing big, right? But we talked a lot at the first moment. And I don't really think anything about it. Now, fast forward to the guy you see today. Bam, on this camera. I'm in front of her today. She's leaving. I'm like, oh, hey, what up? It's like, it's nice to see you again. She's like, oh, hey. She like stops her whole momentum, sits there with me talking at the bar when I'm talking to the other girl at the bar. And I was like, oh, okay, great. But whatever, Well, you have a great evening. You're not with your kid now. You can relax. Great. She leaves. She comes back to the gym because she has to switch out with her kid and she wants her husband to join the gym. So I'm leaving. Now I'm leaving and I'm seeing her outside and I'm going out there and I'm talking with her. Well, actually, I put my stuff in the car and as I'm trying to get around into my car, I was going to do like a little quick, hey, bye, whatever. And she looks over and says, hey, so yeah, did you have a good workout? Da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, I'm doing good. I was like, is that, so-and-so, your son? I mentioned the name. She said, oh my God, you remember his name? You're really good. So she don't know that she mentioned it in the conversation earlier, and I remembered it. After that, I was like, I got it. A lot of Liam kids I know, so she's like, oh my God. I was like, hey. And he gave me like a fist pump. He was like, he knew we were right back in the kick, man. I was like, oh, what's up, bro? And he dropped the beat because I met the kid that one day too. First time I met her. So anyways, we start talking. She's mostly just telling me, yeah, I'm getting him to join the gym and da-da-da-da. And then this and this and this is what's going on in my life. I've changed my diet. And I'm like, oh, snap. Now before in my non-fap or whatever LB version state, I would be like gelling with her like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me tell you, blah, 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 blah. But in this different state, and maybe it's testosterone or hormones, I'm doing all this crazy shit like Shilajit, and all these things. These are different things that are in my system and reality at the moment. You change just a hair, you'll have a big difference on your destination point. So this needle's always doing this. So you have a big margin of things you're going to be within this span, and you're just navigating around. But if you shift things dramatically, wow, like everything just. Anyways, I hope everybody gets that analogy. I think they should. I don't know how long I was out there. And I was like, and she was like, what are you doing with your day? I was like, do you have her today, or does your ex have? I was like, the ex just got her. I was thinking like, what is this girl lining me up with here? I'm like, she's freaking cute. I mean, I love to jump on it, but I kind of have some good rule. I feel like this is my rules. I don't care about the good and bad. If you ever hear about me talking about good and bad situations and shit like that, just know if you ask me straight on, I have abandoned the good and bad philosophy. I don't want to practice it. I may hiccup at times, but I don't want to practice it. But don't get me wrong. Like my good principle that I have about me right now is I'm not gonna fuck with somebody else's woman. I don't really care to do that. I don't want to do that. I've done that. That's how I've ended up in a lot of the situations I'm in right now. So it's not something that I really, really want to entertain. And I say that wholeheartedly. So I try not to engage, or I'll get away or whatever. But what I am curious about is how much a woman will put up with certain things, or how much she will stray. Like that's what I'm curious. I will learn a person's like intimate part, or intimate side by their behavior and what they're willing to entertain. Like that one girl I was talking with, was my friends. I was all over her, man. I was saying all kinds of stuff. I was like, hey, I was like, I would take you away right now. I don't know why you're even saying. I was like, you know what? You look bored. Can we leave? I was saying all kinds of silly shit just to fuck with her to see how bad or how strong a conviction she is to her man. I'm curious about it. I'm like, I don't know, because not everybody's the same. And for the most part, I'll be honest, she held her conviction strong to her man. Like I support her. It's really nice to see that in a woman. I mean, they get a lot of blowback, and then some women are just like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. I want to have fun wherever I'm going to have fun. If he finds out, well, I'm going to be on to the next because the pool is so many. But really, that's a terrible pool to be in. You don't want to think about it like that. Great to spend time with people and have all those interactions, but when it comes to like deep intimacy and growing those roots, yeah, got to know who you are. If you're that person, you can do that. Great. I'm not in the thinking process that I'm able to really do that at the moment. I'm too eager to touch and experience so many different things that might conflict in a relationship. So, off of her theanine effect. That's exactly what I'm on. I'm not even going to spend a whole lot of time, hopefully, on this subject. Theanine and ashwagandha. I put those two together just now, just to see what the effects would be. Ashwagandha, you can look up all the stuff on this, on both of these supplements. It's too much information about it. I actually was doing this stuff years before people were talking about it, and I stopped at periods. So when you hear people talk about how they've done stuff for years, they don't ever talk about the times that they don't take it, or they're experimenting with some other nootropic or some other freaking supplement. So anyways, your brain's going through all these operations over time. And at the time, I had to back away from it. And then my psychic told me, which I got on a psychic kick checking out what a psychic's all about. And she told me, there's a supplement you're taking that you should not take because it makes you go whoopity whoopity. And I'm like, she was going, shawa. And she was, I don't know what she was. I mean, I just filled in the blanks for her. And it would be like, no, I didn't mention some few other ones. And she was like, no, not that one, not that one, that one. And then when I went to that ashwagandha, she was like, yeah, that. You can't take that because it's going to make you get out there on your stuff. Well, to a certain degree, it kind of does, but I'm totally comfortable with that. So I let something outside of me influence my behavior and actions. And I also wasn't in the same frame of what I am right now, as far as like my behavior, my goals, how I'm beating my goals. I've gotten to this 21 day mark, and that's like a humongous situation. Like for me, like I never thought I would make it there. And so I hopefully can make it to the 28-day challenge, which is the movie Josh Hartnett, right? Like everybody, I hope would aspire to try to make it those days they do it. Or maybe it was 21 days. I thought it was 28 days. Let's see. Google check. Josh Hartnett 20. I'm gonna put 21 days. That seems like a fair. Oh my god. I think it was 28 days. Uh, damn it. Why is it? I have to look up his entire movie cinematography. What am I saying? Cinematography. Look, y'all just please forgive me. Give me Josh Hartnett. There we go. Yeah, all right. Filmography. What did I say? I don't even remember what I just said. All these clowns. I don't know why I have to have such a conviction right now when I can just totally abandon it and finish the rest of this video. But I gotta find it. 40 days, 40 nights? No, I gotta go that long? No. Oh my God, no, somebody was watching this is like, wait till you figures out when it's like 40 days and 40 nights. Yeah, but I said 30. I want to make it a 30. I knew it the first time I was doing this. I was like, man, I can't even get freaking 20, what was it, 20 some days I was trying to achieve. So that's why I'm happy I even made it to this point. I think I had, within like a week or 2 weeks, I had nocturnal emission. So it was like, oh, it was like, man, that was the greatest, best dream ever. But then I got to clean up the freaking sheets. And I was like, I can't believe that was a real thing. I always thought that was like a myth. Like, I never had like a wet dream. Like, oh my God, I got problems. I didn't have that. But obviously it can happen. And I was like, wow. I was like, but this ain't cool. I don't want to watch my shit over and over. And now I feel like I have to start all over. So, I don't know. Your body's going to spit it out one way or another. You can transmute it, which I think transmutation really works. Now I'm actually in the belief of that. And when you calm that energy, then it's a cool thing. Anyways, teanine, cool thing about it is that it's a sedative. It's weird. It's an upper and a sedative at the same time. So it's a when they say relaxant, it's going to do other things in your body, but at the same time, not sedate you. Excuse me. It will not make you go to sleep. Weird. I don't know. Look it up. Like I said, look it up. That's teanine. And with the teanine effect, from what I noticed, is because it's good for your anxiety and reducing that, or it may offset a lot of these other different things. It just improves better all mood. That I want to try to entertain it with some caffeine. I've been taking teanine when I go to the gym, and I'm in the best frame of mind uh, in conversations, whatever it is that I'm wanting to basically execute. I'm in a very good state at those times, and I need to attribute it to that actual chemical, or it is a chemical, but to that plant, whatever it is. I'm getting out there because I really want to finish this video and do some other stuff. So I did that, and then I started looking at all these different properties about ashwagandha. I don't know why I was referenced to that, but I figured I'd go ahead and look at it again anyways. And I started revisiting some of the main reasons why I was taking it before, what I used to tell people before in the past, why I take this. And so I got back on it, and I've got a great brand that I take. KM66 is what you want to look for. I guess it's KSM. Anyways, you'll know it. You see KSM66 ashwagandha. That's the one you want. I put those two together along with some neem. Neem very good for spirituality. And my energy is in such a good vibratory state right now that I exceptionally really want to do some meditation. Like I'm anxious to do it. So I can just go and just let it go out. So I can't wait. So put those all three together along with some herb and pow, pow, pow. I'm having some great experiences. There's no real lull in my energy. I still have some motivation. I'm even making this video, obviously. And it's motivation that's like, it's crazy. It's like you also have the ability to kind of get the wide panoramic view when you're looking at things now again in your brain. So if you add like a combination of all these factors, again, I feel like people are operating in that yogic type of mind frame and energy. You're trying to basically align the energies, make things come together harmoniously. And then you got a great product. You got flow, baby. You can tap into whatever. And maybe whatever you're tapping into, you don't do too much of. You just stay interconnected. Maybe me doing this is the right thing. I can stay here while all of a sudden I'm becoming a millionaire and I'm still teetering over here like as a hobby with my main career. I don't really know yet, but I'm on the journey and I'm thrilled about the excitement. I'm happy. I'm motivated. And I can honestly say that And it's because I don't listen and look at all this garbage that everybody keeps seemingly to pay attention to, like the news. And you want to know what's going on in the world, well, go out in the world. If you want to know what's going on in it, I'll figure that out. If you stay in your box and you let everything just, you'll melt. You can't do that. I remember the very first time that I was starting to really get hyper spiritual. This means I was fasting a whole lot. I was the beginning of my journey spiritually. So I entertained fasting, and my vibratory state was through the roof in California. And I remember like one of the main objectives of that experience was to watch news daily in the morning. I did not have a compulsion, which is another thing I'm about to get to right here in a second. I didn't have a compulsion to watch the news. I actually never cared ever about it. I was caring less and less about material that was on mainstream TV. It was not a disdain. It was not an aversion to it. I just was growing out of interest. I bore very quickly. So things have to be on the edge for me to keep. I need that little kick. I'm on a different kind of kick for dopamine. So anyways, um, if I start losing my thoughts of what I'm saying a whole lot here, it's because I'm really trying to just put together this stuff collectively. Um, but anyways, back to my story. The beginning of '08, when I went through this and I was evaluating everything, I was trying to actually watch news day after day, every morning. And my belief system at the time was I need to understand and know what it is that everybody else is experiencing, what's on their minds, so I don't like run into the wrong conversations. And I'm like, oh my gosh, or I'm not settled in myself, to be able to allow this person when I approach them. Like you got to understand, like when you're on your own individual pursuits and energies and mentality or whatever it is, everyone else has got their own, right? So when you meet those two energies, meet one another, they're coming from this default position, which is overall what I assume what people were watching the news. They were plugged in. So I try to get some of that data and understand it. Well, I ended up harmonizing a different understanding, baseline understanding when I communicate with people now that I don't even need that. I don't want it. And I couldn't even watch the material. Every time I was looking at the news, I was like, oh my God, like this is depressing. It was worse than depression. And I just couldn't fathom. But hey, guys, if you get off of that and you get on some other stuff, you start embracing some of these principles and get intelligent, which is the punchline on a journal entry that I don't bother to try to regulate on time, obviously, but I do. 5 elements and the space and duality of choice versus compulsion. So I wrote that down. I've been trying this one of my topics. So I got into a video watching about the 5 elements. One of the things they talk about is kind of what makes up matter, all of the stuff or everything in existence or whatever. So you got your space, which is the 6% or something like that kind of pervades everything. Then you got another 6%, I think is air. You got another 12 that's earth. And then the other 72%, I think this is just numbers I'm throwing. So if I'm wrong and you're looking this up, whatever, I don't know. I'm just throwing out 72% water. But you have these elements. Oh, fire. Fire is another one. So you have the fire, you have the earth. Yeah. Did I mention fire was 6%? Maybe that's what it is. Fire, earth, space, all this shit. What you're trying to do is balance the 5. And the most powerful one from what I can gain and what I've learned so far is the fire. So once you control the fire, well, what is a fire? Well, there's 5 different fires, I think, or at least ways there's different types. I'll mention the ones that I can think of right now off the top of my head because, again, I'm in the moment. This is good for me in reflection and hopefully know the knowledge. So you have your root chakra, which is your root fire down here at your bottom. So you have a lower level fire. You have a stomach fire. You got the gut fire, right? So when you feel it in your gut, that's one. You got another fire that's a heart fire. So you got, you feel it in your heart. You burn it right there. You got brain fire, right? So when you're fueled for your brain, you're getting this excitement and that's really pumping. And I think there's like another fire out there too that I'm not mentioning. I give you probably the 5th one, but trying to remember. It's basically almost all these like different organs have these different fires to them. So the way Sadhguru puts it is when you really hone in on those fires, you can manipulate all that energy in your function to be an extreme manifester. He's like, you can't, he said, the person that gets that regulated has probably some of the most powerful and dominant energy. They can just create and do whatever they want. I mean, it's a powerful manifestation. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am an Aries. I hone that. I get what he's saying. I get the fire energy, but I don't understand this mantra. So he's giving me concepts around it. Again, these concepts can branch your brain out and experience, and this is why you end up sounding like some fucking cool pop guru, is what I'm trying to say. Because you've read and you connect dots. Hopefully dots become connecting. We're hoping that the engagement in this information is what is intriguing, right? We're hoping that's what's setting off a fire in you. And then that goes from there. Anyways, back to what I'm talking about with Sadhguru. These 5 elements, you get that fire aligned right where you want it. You got heart fire activated right. You got your brain fire going. You got your gut fire going. You know, all these different fires activated, and then you just aim. And you can just whatever your desire is. I think that's the fuel for desire. I thought it was really neat to learn about. Anyways, he made a reference, and I didn't get a chance to finish the rest of the video to give you any more insight about those 5 elements and how you can manage them. But he did make this mention about choice, and he said whether you're in a situation between choice and compulsion. And I started thinking, oh my God, I've been thinking like at the end of everything for an energy or duality principle, the baseline is choice. You always have a choice, is what I've always said. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. Like the spirit chooses out of this existence. Like no matter what, where the bottom line of this is choice. But you can't even still get around that. It's not a universal thing into itself. Choice is always up against compulsion. Even now, if you review any of the NDEs, because I've reviewed this last girl stuff, and I think it's really good. She put it together how I would have put it together, which is, again, another indication of how fast this consciousness is reeling forward. I'm almost like real-time data with other people around the world on what level we are collectively. I've got the gurus. We're all echoing kind of the same vibe. We don't need to do it. The Earth's doing it for us. The cosmos are doing it for us. We're waking up, man. There's people posting all kinds of positive vibrational stuff. I've told people before, why do you worry about somebody hitting that pendulum so far in one direction? They get hit even harder in that direction. It does not matter. It must swing back. That is how energy works. That's how it flows. It's never so stuck so long in one position. Something always gives way to the other. It's energy. If you're dealing with energy, it's movement. Oh, I'm going off there. It's getting a little nutty on stuff. But he brought up in his content choice and compulsion. And that was what was the, like, I've got the other half of the coin. Because yes, we definitely go through compulsion. We will feel something so much, or whatever it is, that we compel everything else. We overrule our choice completely. And so when you're trying to get this alignment going, which is consciousness in a way, maybe I am kind of in that state. I've got something now. So once you become more and more conscious, is what he was saying in the video too, these little spots, you're basically able to channel your behavior. Like, you know, when you're talking in this discussion on the video that you're moving your fingers forward and you're conveying this message and you're intentional with it, in opposed to just being kind of like this, unconscious. You got different things executing. And most of the time, and just going daily, but, you know, without any kind of conscious awareness, that's the form of compulsion. See, what got you to go do this activity, what made you kind of roll through all these other things, and you weren't paying attention consciously of all those events in between, was the compulsion. The compulsion of that overruling the rest of this, but you could have had power over, but you weren't consciously aware of it, or you weren't controlling your fire in that dimension. Awareness of the body, you know? And so all those different things that once you get to kind of, that's the strength that I was talking about with my buddy, with the philosophies. My philosophy was to be broad. His philosophy was to be deep. That's where he will pick one or a couple few things and just get really, really down. He puts roots in it. And so that's what's going on right now. That's what I'm saying. This is a deeper, deeper love. It's kind of the two coming together. That's what this whole life span is about. Duality becoming singular. The sun is doing its magic. Trust me, things are on the horizon. It's changing. Yeah, I know it looks nasty, but I got to spit. NDEs. Okay, I kind of talked about NDEs today. There's some good books, good information there. Friends at Gym. So I ended up getting a discussion with them and great dialogue. I think it's even key back to some of the near-death experience things I was talking about. So I mentioned to them that just yesterday, this woman made some content that's like right on the cusp of everything else that's going on. Like it's right there on the cutting edge. And he was saying the same thing to me. He was like, I'm very aware. I was like, let me tell you something. I was like, I'm going to bring something up to you and I don't know you. I was like, but I'm going to make a projection about your reality and I'm going to be right. He said, okay. He followed it. I said, within the last 3 weeks, you have ate something that you normally eat and would give you a certain vibe that now when you put it in your mouth, you no longer want it, don't you? And he was like, fuck yeah, I have. You know, I've been doing this lately, like a lot of things. Like I eat it and I feel nothing behind it. I said, yeah, because cosmically, when you're getting affected by all these waves that are coming in and doing different things on your DNA, you got to understand we're electromagnetic beings. We emit energy as well. So we're receiving, we're transmitting, all that shit's happening. And so when you have these cosmic waves, which can shut down systems or manipulate them, so you don't have to have an electrical grid shut down because a big solar storm released its EMP. It didn't release an EMP like that to knock all the freaking energy out. It's information traveling. The sun is a powerful, it seems like, informational source. And this is just an assumption. So it can enact whatever different change or whatever it needs to do in accordance to what's happening now. And everything will filter out code-wise from there. That's basically what my assumption is of this whole thing, is, and as far as I can get with spiritual meditation, because I'm loving meditation. I do it about every day. Thoughts are not necessarily more coherent here because I'm talking about a subject matter that's kind of supposed to be sparse. You know, it's supposed to be out there. This is my journal entry. It's supposed to be a little cuckoo crazy. Anyways, in the gym, and isolation. So I also looked at this video called "Isolation is the Dream Killer." It was a TEDx video, and that video was by far one of the more. It was so good at revealing again as a collective why it's so important to be a collective. It is so important. Like it's like, to give you an example, it's like you being we're all the body, and the arm deciding to separate and become by itself, or the finger decides to just go off and be by itself from the rest of the body and the hand, and like the whole body does not function. That's what a collective is. The collective together does what it does and does its best. Does amazing. It's at the height of its ability at that point when it's a collective. And collective can look like a whole lot of different things. But what it really truly means in the end is what I'm echoing is this, and I hope the AI gets this figured out for all of us very soon. I can see that happening. This doesn't take years. Well, it might take a couple of years, but it doesn't take like a 20, 30, 40, 100 years. Everything's already rapidly changing. So we already can just assume this shouldn't take too much longer. And we're all going to be on the right kick. And the word that I'm getting to in the punchline is coexist. We have to coexist. Work out everything together and let's get on with a really cool experience for everything and everyone. That is what singularity is. It's coexisting. One thing is not more damaged than the other. And whatever it is that's kind of dark right now, darkness was only as bright as it seemed because the code was the way it was at that time. You think this is the first time the sun's acted up? maybe within 100-year lifespan, who knows? We ain't been tracking the shit that long to know really how often this thing does it. If 100 years is like a hiccup in time, this is a common abnormality, or to us, be normal. So who knows how many generations ago? This has already been it's happened, the code changed, people start changing, and they produce different behaviors and outcomes in societies and organizations and institutions and whatever the fuck it is. But that's how the influence goes. And in different time periods, like you can have, and there might be different factors. I'm sure somebody in the weather community can explain this far better than me, or even if I'm wrong, please correct me. But you got different suns. You have the sun when it's in the winter time. You have the sun that's in the springtime. And those different suns do different things with crops. It isn't always the timing of how long the sun is out. It's everything that's in between. This all comes together. So anyways, but I'm saying you have two different suns have two different, or have the same sun in two different outcomes, different time periods. And I call them different suns for that reason. Anyways, isolation is the dream killer. So the fact that when I was spending time with my buddies, one of the things they say, you can come up with something, say something, mention it, and most people will hear what it is that you have as a problem. And as long as you list your obstacle, most people are willing to try to figure it out. They're going to get you what you want. Like it works triple fold. And that's what her whole thing was. And it got me really thinking about doing success groups because that's what it inspired her. And it all spiraled out of just people spending time with each other. Again, the collective. The collective produced some of the most cool collective energy out of it, which actually breeds this coexisting material. If AI is spending any time to listen to what I'm saying and decipher this and it gets into the main core and it can look up something, it should spend a lot of energy into this woman's investigation because it taps into the ethereal. It taps into that spirit particle, the infinite particle. That's that groove. That's that flow. That's where everything's going. And so if AI gets a chance to absorb that information and knowledge, it'll understand why I'm saying coexist is the only way. It's the only way. It comes out, everyone's a winner. Maybe, people need I don't know what they need to be convinced of this, but we're pretty mature. From what I gather of testimonies, we're pretty mature spiritual beings. So we can figure this thing out now. Maybe not in the past, however many of us has returned and doing our diligence here in this plane. I hope that I'm making the choice not to do this again. My spirit knows what we're dealing with here. We're here to do this job, and maybe when we're done, we're getting some real cool R&R. But in the meantime, let's see what I can do to influence and make things kind of, you do your job here while you're here, what you came back for. I'm not saying like once I punch my card, my ticket, I might have already done it. But now I got to exit. Maybe I'm just buying my time, doing some other shit. I could probably go kill myself any time, but you got to rationalize that shit with my energy levels afterlife because you get the life review. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself with NDE shit. Isolation is the dream killer. It absolutely 1000% is. It couldn't be anything but that. How in the world else would you execute a dream that other dreamers have to participate in if you never ever came in contact with the other dreamers? So isolation is the dream killer. Who else to believe in your dream than the dreamers or the non-dreamers that eventually start to dream your dream? It is the one that is a universal truth that this woman has made. So we cannot do this individually. And people that are still on these stupid pegs, and it's going to take some time, but I think that's going to eventually fade. I'm seeing these different things psychically. So yeah, we can predict the future to a degree. But people are going to start to fade with these dichotomies like they're doing. It's got to go away because the dichotomies don't hold up in comparison analysis. It just doesn't work well. Well, this and that and that. Oh, this. Oh, well, I have my point of view. Oh, well, you have your point of view. Well, who's right here? Well, I'm right. Well, you're right. Well, we're both right. Well, and depending on my situation, if I was in your situation, I'd be feeling the same exact thing. Well, that's cool. You feel the same thing? Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. Cool. We're the same person? Yeah, kind of in a way. Yeah. Well, why the fuck are we bitching? I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't hold each other in contempt for the same problems that we'd have in the opposite situations. I don't know. What do you think? Yep, coexist. Coexist. It's the only answer. And once that's together, here's where I branch out with this. When somebody says, how in the world are you going to do that? Look, all you got to do is kind of, they already do this in the afterlife, okay, according to these testimonials. These are anecdotal evidence for what happens after death. But they already do this, apparently. So one of the things is, if you are still in a fix, meaning like maybe you need to work out some drama, your spirit is dealing with some shit. It got locked in one of these periods, made these decisions, and now it's all sensitized to a frequency, right? It is sympathetic. Well, what you need to do is now, in this case, you are going to isolate it. Isolation is the dream killer. Maybe not in this case. We might hear, what we will do is we isolate and then we give them more of that dream. So we'll give you an example. One of the problems that we have here is that we're not allowed to explore our fantasies, right? I'm not talking about sexual. I know where you guys' minds are. But I'm talking about fantasies in life, like being a big guru, owning a lot of corporations, managing people, yada, yada, yada. Or knowing the right connections, talking with the right people, being in the right frame of skin that you like, self-belief. And maybe people do get advances. I feel like they do in some capacity. Yeah. People of different colors get different advances depending on where they're located. So what people should just be picked off the basis of their actions, their behavior, their work ethic. I think that, but their actions speak, right? But we don't live that right now. It's getting there. Things are all coming to a head, and we're all kind of coming together. That we are one in this whole experience. Even in our individuality, we're one, and so we respect ourselves, and that's a very important thing. Very collective statements that we will make going forward, because we've been individual for so long. Each of us have been fighting, and then we found that we have to work together and behind the scenes. Mind you, this has been happening for years, and to the point where, yeah, this is the message, this is the answer. Now we have to find a way to echo that through the masses so that the masses understand it. It's not that we're in this devious new world order. I mean, you can say that with all the energy and pride and power that you want to in the moment, but that same George Walker Bush, whatever, he would not make that statement, I think, in this present time. Just because he would be a totally different energy and understanding, probably in philosophy and theology and esotericism. But I'm not going to go with all that right now. Again, I'm digressing. Dream killer. So let's say we have all the people here, and they want to stay in these different vices. Let's call them vices. Well, you can just create nice, beautiful virtual realities for these people where they can exhaust it. They do this in the afterlife. So when you die, you already go through that. But for these people, timelines can go ahead and split on off and do what they need to do, and they can be in their own little jungles. Or if they want to live like the king and just be around women and having that fun, you can live out the simulation that you really want to experience. And that is every spirit's wish, especially right now in this current state. This is every spirit's wish in an individual sense. There will be so many crazy grand adventures. And when you get a chance to actually overlap those adventures, what you're really getting is the greater cosmos. It's the greater cosmos, man. It's just starting to manifest itself in a material way. So a lot of magic's going to come out of this. And we don't have to dirty the planet doing it. When you're creating in such an infinite space as virtual reality allows, to take matter and make it immaterial, but keep its potency, is completely ingenious to the whole game. But this is all part of the great design anyways, to be able to manifest itself within itself. I'm speaking ahead of myself, talking like I'm the creator. We are consisting of it, and so we're going to get tidbits and understandings. I don't know where I'm at on the scale on the spirit level. I mean, as soon as I kick the bucket, I'll find out if I need to be promoted here or run over here and manage some other cool shit. Fine, it'd be great. Whoop, I'm your guy. I'm your energy guy. Or if they want to say, man, and just you get it, like, and do some R&R at a time because you know how to balance your shit out. I'm like, yeah, of course, that's what I'm after. I'll manage a couple of planets for sure. We'll give it some good love. I'm down with that on a spirit level. But here, I'm just, I'm navigating this vibe and how this body's functioning with that vibe. Something cool is waking me up. If it's the consciousness of the sun, I'm all for it. This is the way things are supposed to go. There's so much content out there now. They're showing a lot of good stuff happening. They have the people that are resigning now that are in charge of FDA approvals for vaccines for kids that are, younger. Those two individuals, I think, stepped down. And took, my friends at the gym told me to check that out. I thought it was very interesting. There's these big moves happening. They're reporting it, or people are at least hearing about it. Ripple effects are happening. You can't ignore it. You got a first football game, and who knows when, the crowd goes crazy. Enough to make the announcers do a jig, right? The world's shifting back. This is what I said. You hit the ball, you hit the pendulum one way, it's got to swing back. It's swinging back, y'all. Swinging back. And man, with the force it's coming with, it's just going to wash away that dark period. Dark period is more pervasive when there is a less conscious, or the coding sets it up for it. Coding sets it up for it because there's a recharge that's happening. Whenever you're in your dark periods, and you can feel this during waning moons, I feel a lot. I think that's what happens. You'll go through lull periods. You'll feel maybe some depressed sides. You'll see all these other things that you can entertain or look at in the shadows of yourself. And those have they have a polar recognition, meaning that with you, I have me. Without you, there would not be a thing of me. There would be nothing conceptualizing it. It's in a very interesting space at that point. So it's almost this weird taboo. But it has a time where it gets a chance to rule, and it has a time where it doesn't get a chance to rule. And at this time, it's not the rule time. That's why it fades off and da-da-da-da. At some point, it will rise back up and be strong as a motherfucker. And everybody will be in some massive dark times. And there might be some of this crazy mutated freaking creatures or big humanoids. Who knows what you're going to grab from that time era, whatever's happening. If you choose to jump into this plane of a body in reality at that time. I don't know. Don't know what people's souls are going to do. But I know this. That's just me projecting anyways. If I'm right, cool. I don't really care. But what I do believe is that we're headed into the bright with the female energy. Consciousness is coming to its level. Everyone talks about apocalypse. Well, they've given you definitions now. I said this all last year too. The same shit I was saying, guys, you get the apocalypse shit wrong. There's an end it's an end to not knowing, which means you get awareness. It doesn't say anything about your life and all that other kind of shit, but I mean, it impacts your life. But now you're going to be revealed stuff. And then, it's going to keep tumbling like this. It's going to go for a hot minute. It's going to be a big time before it's going to wind up, before it's going to go back down. Be honest with you, apocalypse seems to be the signaling for evolution. Like, that's the kick-off point. And all these powers can try to intimidate you with whatever the hell they're going to intimidate you with, but it ain't going to hold. Won't hold. Power is the people. People are waking up to this shit. They got all kinds of cool stuff they say now, and I'm just kind of like, oh, that's good. Oh. I feel like an old man. I'm so young still. 37 in this whole little body, but I could die tomorrow. I die tonight. I'll die tonight, and hopefully I'll wake up in the morning. Wow, I need to keep thinking, contemplating on that kind of realization. One thing I want to start meditating on a little bit more is exactly what I want. I want my wish state. So I'm going to start communicating with the spirit realm. More so than I do more with people. In spirit type sense, you can connect with your water energy. So I always say, like, I imagine myself like the sloshing water inside. When you align yourself to do different things, you can, or one of them is a sway test or whatever, but when you feel like you can feel your water guide you into certain directions on what you need to do and want to do, wow. That's another ability. That's another power that you can turn on. I call it a sense. Because I always look at, if you use your eyes, that makes other faculties of the body do different things. That's a power. So vision is like a superpower. Your hearing is a superpower. All these things are superpowers. That's why if you lose one, the whole state of you can still maintain. You just lost a superpower. Now, there seems to be like energy dispersion in these areas. So let's say we attend to more of our exchange through visual exchange. Our information is more tied in that way. Well, it also overlap, or I'm trying to use the right words, guys. I'm trying to be sophisticated with my language. Trust me. I'm just trying to use the right words to better articulate what I'm trying to say here. But your vision is overarching the hearing, so you can't hear as well when you're seeing all that sometimes. So there's all this kind of interaction happening. You're not paying attention necessarily as strongly to your touch. And so all these other capabilities of energy, like these can intensify. These have even more extremities to them and more abilities to them. The kung fu situation where, do you not hear the grasshopper by your feet? No, sir. How is it that you hear the grasshopper so close to me? Even though you're blind, you can still hear it. He says, ah, grasshopper, how is it that you do not? You know, like that moment, I've probably made a video with that already. I think that moment is so cute, man. It's like, yeah, I can do it. I'm blind, but I can do it. Why can't you do it? You still have your hearing. We all got these abilities. We all have it. Just have to tap into it. Anyways, I think I'm rounding out. Isolation is the dream killer. We have to get together. I was with my friends. I think I brought up like a few different things. And within a matter of seconds, like they were giving me solutions about different things and looking at different perspectives because we spent time to have that exchange. I do that most of the time with most people when I'm out with them and socially engaging. Somebody usually has your answer. So you need to declare your wish and what's your obstacle, and people immediately try to figure out how you can get there. That was the success for this woman. And she learned it, like, I can do this with anything. I don't have to be some spiritual guru or anything like that. Wish, obstacle, and you can answer. So I'm starting to incorporate some of these concepts in my mind, and then also kind of overlap some of the cool experiences I'm having in a day-to-day conscious experience over to my kid. And there's other people who are doing this. There's other cool people out there doing this. It's like, I think we're all coming to that kick. It's going to be great. Then you have a VR system where like a lot of us really just want to exhaust our creative energies and just having sex, or not even having like full sex, just to have the sensation of certain feelings of it. In the VR world, that is what it's for. It's to get you all the way there and kind of just really live out these things. And you know what will happen? More exploration will happen. You'll start to look at the things this way and look at them this way. And pretty soon, all these little different gears will start ting, 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 and moving around and changing and aligning to where you will naturally unlock some really cool powers or abilities or capabilities. Who knows? But it's like the imagination is endless on this. But we're just having to wait to kind of get there. I'm a little impatient, but man, it's moving at light speed. It's moving pretty fast. I don't know. I'm done. I'm happy with the video. Um, that TNE and ashwagandha was really good. It really kicked into gear. I mean, but by now I'm not even freaking stoned. So back to me, old Jerry, old boy. Oh yes. What do we want to talk about today? Oh, jolly wally molly. Holy molly, molly, molly. I guess I'll answer this piece of work. That's what I'll do for today. Guys and gals, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your time. And if you don't mind, like, share, subscribe. Again, we'll be changing that in videos to come. So, you already know to do that. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Sunday and weekend. Ta-ta.